Have you ever felt like your second verse just doesn't hit the same as your first? Like you got this nice momentum going and then it just sort of like fizzles out? Today, I'm going to show you how you can nail the second verse energy to keep your songs rocking and rolling and to keep people connecting with you through the tune. First, let's talk about why does the second verse energy matter? The second verse is a beautiful, magnificent part of your song that should be treated that way. It should not be thrown away. It should be treated with respect. And it should be treated with trust to your listeners. Because in the second verse, you are often bringing back something when it comes to your melody and your storytelling that has already been built to be familiar with the listener from the beginning of the song. And so in the second verse, you are often, what you're probably doing is you're probably switching things around and getting all types of creative and all types of exploration melodically and lyrically in production, okay? But really the key of the second verse is to say, hello, listener, I hear you, I see you, and I will be delivering this message again so that you can be a part of this song. When you don't do that, you're saying, I'm more important than you. Follow me on this creative exploration and get lost. And you don't want to do that. If you do that, people will not be wanting to listen to your music simply because they cannot follow along with it. And so basically, what happens when the second verse doesn't deliver? And how does that impact the listener's experience? Basically, what happens is somebody listens and they just start to tune out because they can't follow along to what you're singing about. They just can't because they're not music creators. They're not Jacob Collier, okay? They're just music lovers. That's just what music lovers do. They just want to listen and enjoy. And the second that you don't make that easy for them to do, they will not do it, not because they don't even know why. They'll just be like, I'm going to turn something else on, okay? So the key is to lock in, give them the magic sauce, and allow you to creatively express yourself in whichever way you would like to. So we're going to be talking a bit about that. And so I remember years ago, gosh, this has to have been about 15 years ago, maybe 15 years ago, when I was working on a tune and my buddy Skylar sent me something, an instrumental. It was an instrumental that I had written and I really wanted him to sing on. It was this really zesty, tasty underlick, piano energies. And I was like, dude, you got to sing something on this. And he just wasn't feeling it, or he was busy. I don't know. But I was like, bro, you got to sing on this. You got to give this a go. And I remember that one time that the instrumental sort of went on a journey. It went on a ride. And what he sent to me through that instrumental, through the way that it was created, it led him astray in the vocal, right? That's on me at the time. I've evolved since then. And I sent this to him and he created this he created this killer first verse. It was amazing. And I could hear it immediately. And then it went to a chorus, and then went back to the second verse, or went to the second verse. And in that second verse, the melody was totally different, and the words were different. Everything was different. I was like, bro. It was so clear of how strong the first verse was. I'm like, dude, let me get on the computer, and he wasn't there. So I got on his white iMac. Was it his? Yeah, it was his iMac. I think in GarageBand, I said, give me the file. Chop, chop, chop. And I just moved it around. I'm like, copy and paste. Copy and paste, baby. And then I was like, hey, wait, what were the lyrics? Is that what you're saying lyrically? Is that what you're saying right there? I'm like, okay. And he's like, no, that's not what I'm saying. I'm like, oh, just change the lyrics around a little bit. And we altered them just a little bit. And that became a song that thousands and thousands of people would sing live with us. And then basically right after if you create a verse that's really powerful, when you return to that verse again and you've established what that melody is, and even lyrically, it can be lyrically too, in somebody's mind, they can sing along to it, okay? And when you don't do that, when you say, no, I'm going to do this whole other thing, you're basically saying, I don't give a shit about you, and try to follow along. And that may sound like an extreme thing to say, but it's really true. And if you simply pay attention to the thousands of songs that millions of people love, billions of people love, they are much more simple than probably what you're doing in their repetition. And so the key with this is to establish a very strong melody at the first part of the song in your verse, and then take the listener on a journey beyond that through pre-chorus or chorus or pop drops, whatever you do. And then once you return back to the second verse, we're coming back to a trusted melody. You could even lyrically come back to the same thing, but switch the lyrics up. And I don't mean switch the lyrics up and start to change what the melody is because of that. That's what a lot of people do. They go, no, I'm singing the same melody. I'm like, you are not singing the same melody. You are singing now different words and with different syllables, a different syllabic nature, phonetically changing things too much. And because you do that, people just get lost immediately. And I see this thousands of times. So you're probably guilty of that. That's okay. That's why you're here. Okay? That's why you're here. So all you got to do is that we need to build on the first verse. That's the key. Build on the first verse. So what is the balance between keeping the melody familiar and adding something fresh? Well, you can literally take the melody. If you have a great melody, you should have a great enough melody in your first verse to take that and copy and paste that to your second verse. If you're wondering, what am I going to write in my second verse? You're going to write that first verse again. And then if you can establish that in and you're feeling good, I mean, you should feel it that you're excited to sing that first verse again if you've taken somebody on a journey. You can switch it up from there. Switch it up at the end. You're doing new lyrics, new production elements, creating a new vibe, right? Absolutely. But melodically, lock in. Sing that damn melody again. Don't be changing a note here and there. Oh my God, it's so painful to hear somebody sing something where they think that melodically they are being clever. If you think you're being melodically clever, what you're doing is you are confusing the audience, and you may not even realize what being clever is. Some people that are a little bit more musically gifted or musically knowledgeable will think that they're being clever. You're not being clever. You're losing people every moment. You're not building trust with them for them to even be able to sing along. And isn't that what you want to do? I mean, if you're listening to me, I would imagine you want people to sing along to your songs. If you don't, then you wouldn't be here, right? And if you're somebody that raps, if you're more of a hip hopper, no. If you rap, it's a little bit different because rapping isn't necessarily melodic, but that's also this interesting thing with the second verse is an opportunity to introduce a feature. Hey, it's featuring whatever, I don't know, featuring Nicki Minaj. And that's different, right? Because you can have a second verse that is an introduction of somebody else. That can work too. It's a certain type of music, right? If that's you, cool. If that's not you, cool. And you can also use the second verse to establish what the verse even is and then switch it up at the end. But you got to reestablish what that verse is or people are going to tap out real quick. You're not more clever than humans. You are not more clever than humans, okay? You're just not. I love you, but you're not. Oh, you hear the birds out there? I hear some birds. Okay. So, and it's important to change the words up because we're telling stories, dude. You're telling stories. And so the melody locking in and staying the same, that allows you to change the words up, change the rhyme scheme, change all types of things, but keep the melody, keep it steady and go back to it and then change all the other elements. You could even change the chords. You can change all types of stuff, but the song is the lyric and the melody. Don't be messing with my melody, okay? Because I'll be coming and I'll be knocking on your door saying, fix it. Okay, so yeah, the biggest mistake that songwriters make when it comes to the second verse is simply just changing too many things or having a shitty verse to begin with and then just doing it again. I'd prefer you to do that. That's easier than just changing everything. Don't be changing everything around. You can hear songs like from like a 21 Pilots or the Neighborhood. What's that group where it's like kind of rapping and singing where you might introduce a second verse and it's like an entirely different energy. That can work, but you should already know that that's the thing you're doing. And honestly, a stronger way to introduce a rapped second verse would be by having a really strong melodic first verse to be able to break away from that. But if you're not somebody that's even doing that, like Ed Sheeran, I think Ed Sheeran might do that sometimes. Yeah, like that type of deal. Or what's 21 Pilots? He's at like the white guy rapping thing. That's cool too. If that's your thing, you can do that in a second verse if you have a really strong first verse, right? And switch it up. But always know that melody is always way more memorable than rapping to begin with. I'll just put that stake in the ground right here. It's far more memorable. Why? Because words are new. Words are new. Melody is not new. Okay? Melody's not new. Melody is millions of years old. Hear the birds outside? Melodies. They're singing notes, okay? How old are you? Not as old as the birds. The birds are longer or older than you. The birds have been here for a minute. Birds are dinosaurs. Dinosaurs, we're singing songs, okay? Okay? You're not smarter than dinos. Actually, you are smarter than dinos. We are. Why didn't the dinosaurs evolve? Why? I guess they didn't need to. They were just big as hell, and they didn't need to evolve. But they didn't figure out the melodies to organize them the way that you can as a human being, as a vibe machine. Okay, so here's some practical tips for your second verse success. And the simplest way to approach writing a second verse without overthinking it is simply saying, hey, verse 1 is tight. Let's do that again. Or not even thinking like, let's do it again. It should be, we just made a first verse and that thing was so great, and then we wrote this chorus and it was amazing. Oh my gosh, we get to go back to the second, we get to go back to the verse. Don't even think about it of which verse. We get to go back to the verse. That's what you should be feeling. Because if you're feeling that, then what you made previously is awesome, and you should be excited to get to sing it the way that somebody listening to your song would be. It's not complicated, guys. You're just overthinking it, or you're just overthinking it. I'm not overthinking it. You're overthinking it. I've overthought it for decades. And having the second verse is a really cool way. Having the second verse is an opportunity to change some stuff up only after you've established what that verse is by singing the first verse again. And then you could take it off the rails. You could take it off the rails in the second half introduce a new pre-chorus. What else can you do? You can introduce like a totally new section. You can change the notes up a little bit. You can add a little bit of a new melody, a little B melody, and then come back to it, right? But lock in and say, that's what the verse is going to be, and we're going to sing it again. And it'll be awesome again. And I think if you need to, copy and paste the thing. If you recorded it into the computer, copy and paste it. Just assume that second verse is going to be the same thing you did for the first one, verbatim, but words are going to change. Rhymes are going to change. That's interesting. And yeah, you can do this. You've got this. It's actually not that hard to simplify this and just make that a part of your natural flow, and people will love your music a million times more. And I think you will make it a lot easier for you to be writing things that are a lot easier. And yeah, we're going to keep this one short today. Of course, you can go and grab my songwriting checklist at thesongwritingchecklist.com. This thing, hold on, got it. This will help you out right here. Links in the description or whatever it is. Go check that baby out. It'll help you out dramatically, transform your music, and make you more aware of this stuff. I am going to hang out and make you some music. I've mentioned this in the last episode that I am building a little library for you to write some music on. I love making music, and I love when people write songs on the instrumentals. Think about that. A song is written on an instrumental, okay? And so this is not going to be a song. What you can write on is you could write a song on an instrumental that I do, right? I'm going to make that easier for you. More on that to come soon, but I'm just going to spend a little time hanging out, jamming. We're just going to jam a little bit, make a little something. I was hearing some slow music. The other day, and I was like, it'd be cool to make some slow music. You know what? Maybe we'll switch it up. I could do a million things. I'm thinking we start on a bit of a groove, okay? We're just gonna pull in a loop-de-loop from Splice, because we're cheaters and we can use the skills of all the great producers of the world to inject vibes immediately into what we're doing. You know why we can do that? Because drum loops, my friend, are not copyrightable. Why is that? I mean, the recording of them is, but the composition is not, because there is no composition. Well, I mean, I guess there is. I guess you could write out the beats, but like you could have a Billie Jean, 4 on the floor drum beat a million times over, and everybody uses that, and it's just a groove, just different sounds. And all right, we're going to be working at 72 BPM, but we're going to go for a real 72 BPM. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take my little nifty thing here, and we're just going to set some parameters for it. And we're just going to find something. And folks, if you're listening at home, I'm just going to be guiding you through this, and you can just hear the sounds as we move through this. I'm going to preview some stuff. Let's see what we got. I don't even know. I'll take it. I don't even care. I'm just going to take something and see what happens. We're just rolling. Here we go. We're going to take this beat, okay? And we're just going to pop it in. Let's just let this play. Oh, it's kind of like filtered out. Okay. I could groove to this. We'll do something. I don't know. Let's just give it some. Okay, cool. We'll just make this loop a little bit bigger. I'm just gonna make a loop-de-loop on here. Are you guys ready for it? I hope so. Here we go. I'm just gonna just spitball. I don't even know. Actually, we'll change the key. We did it in one key last time. We're just gonna change the key. So I have this little nifty knob that just lets me go into any key I want, baby. Ha ha ha. Why? I'll show you why. Because I like to play in C major. So this is the C. I'm playing. If you understand what a keyboard is, this is just C major right here, and I just have this little knob that lets me change it so I can play in whatever key I want. We'll go here. Okay, let's do it. We'll get to this on the next round. Here it comes. 1, 2, 3, on. Okay, we're vibing now. Welcome to the vibe. I'm going to take it. I'm just going to alter the notes a little bit just to jazz it up. Just imagine you're on my red couch behind me hanging out saying, hey, dude, I have an idea for this. Because I want to make music that you can actually write stuff on, because that's exciting to me to have other people be able to create on the things that I do. That's my special place that I've just done that for so many decades that it's fun to share. It's fun to share that love with other people, and just what I do. But we're gonna watch this. We're gonna take this and we're just gonna make this more like an underlick. Okay, I'll show you how that happens. Well, you'll hear it. Here we go. Here has a little bit more movement now. Could just let the music play, but you know what? We're just gonna do what we do. We're still getting used to just what it is to be on a pod and be making music, which is not a thing I normally do. So I'm kind of training myself. This is cool. This is a cool vibe. You could do lots of song ideas on this. Key, if you're ever confused while making music, just sing the same thing over and over again. Just don't stop singing the melody and listen to how it interacts with the chords. I'll do an example right now. If you're at home writing on this, you can just sing the same thing over and over. That's a tri-loop twist. 3 melodies the same and then change it on the 4th. Okay, let's do another section. We'll just loop this out right here. I could make a whole entire track, which maybe I guess that's what I'm going to ultimately do. Right now, I'm just getting in the mode of doing this right now. So I give myself grace to do whatever the heck I want to do. We'll just jam for a little bit. Let's see what we got. Okay, I'll just do something like that. That was cool. I just changed one note at the end of it just to give it a little bit of something different. Just a little twist, just a little change. And then we have our other section we'll listen to too. You can come up with lots of ideas on this. I'll let this just play for a bit. Cool. We could do all types of stuff with this and vibe this out. But again, to show you that I can put this in any key, I'm going to mess with your brain if you're creating something on this. Listen to this. Different key now. I'm going to filter this. Filter it out a little bit, just get it out of the way. You always want to get things out of the way so that you can sing something on it, right? See how my vocal can sit sort of on top of this? I want to do a little bit of breathing on it. Oh. It's called a LFO tool. It's a thing that will make it pulse. So it's the sound is getting cut out. Listen, if I cut the drums out, you can feel it, like the breathing, which is just a cool vibe. And it also actually makes space for you to make space for everything. And the cool thing is when you have a good idea, right? Like, so we have this little composition thing that we're doing right now. And I can easily just take this thing and duplicate this. I can duplicate this whole track right here. Okay, it's muted right now. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to simply take these sounds. Actually, I'm going to take the composition and I'm going to just change out what sound it is. So check this out. Back to drums. Here's a duplicate. Okay, you can hear it a little bit in there. And I'm going to make it actually a bass. So it'll just play along to everything. So we'll first do this first loop here. I guess I should show you on the screen. I mean, we'll get to that. Right now we're keeping this simple. So I turn off all the notes. I'm just gonna turn on the low notes right here. And you'll hear, we're gonna create a bass line through the low notes. Does that sound good? Okay, you ready for it? Are you sure? Okay, here it comes. We're gonna just do a little Arturia mini moog, but it's Arturia too. Okay, let's pop this baby in. This might be really low. I don't know what's about to happen. It might explode. Okay. Okay, that might be exploding your sound system. But here, so listen to it's playing the bass notes. Right? And then we already know that will sound good with the other composition because we like that composition, right? So we're gonna just take that and we can play along with it. Now we have some low end to play with. So here it comes. Change the octave of like the last notes. Listen to how low we'll get right here. Right there. So you can easily extract stuff out of your composition to make it work. And then you could say, like, let me turn the bass up on this. So now you got like two things. And you don't need a lot of elements, right? A great underlick, you can sort of extract everything from it. It's got the root notes in it. Let's do this other section too right here. Watch, I'll just turn on the low notes. Right here we go again. Take them an octave down. Too low. I could even take the rhythm of this and make it a faster rhythm. So give us some overlap of certain things, but change the octave around of the low notes like this. Well, right here, listen. Okay, that was kind of cool. I like that. And then you can take those notes and just play with different parts of the progression. Back to the top. Here it comes. Whatever ideas you have on this type of stuff, you know? I think music is as simple as that, right? You can come up with an entire thing on this. And the thing that people will legitimately resonate with you, with your thing is what you're singing anyways. There's a vibe element, of course, to it. And this is like, when I make music, I like to make my own vibe up. Sure. And that's, you vibe with it or you don't vibe with it. I don't really care. But it's really more a matter of having ease and not overly complicating what the composition is. So enjoy.